Netflix's film adaptation of popular anime series Death Note is very, very far removed from the source material, but manages to rework the story into something reasonably entertaining. I'm speaking as a huge fan of the original series, but I recognize that many people will watch this without any prior conceptions of how Death Note is supposed to be, and on that level, the film succeeds, but it was a bit of a wasted opportunity as far as I'm concerned because the real brilliance of the original was lost in translation. As is so often the case with live-action adaptations of Japanese anime, Death Note tells the story of high school student Light Turner, who is given a death note by a shinigami, god of death Ryuk. Write a person's name in the note and that person dies. You can even choose the exact cause of death, but there are rules and limitations. From his initial uncertainty, Light slowly morphs into a mass murderer with messianic delusions, egged on by his sociopathic girlfriend Mia. They operate together, killing criminals under the name of Kira. But Light is hindered by a police investigation led by the enigmatic and eccentric L, teenage genius. L is desperate to find out who Kira is and put a stop to the killings, and Light's own father, a police officer, is also on the case, unaware of his son's involvement. The anime series was a Machiavellian game of cat and mouse, with the two brilliant strategists constantly plotting to outwit each other, planning their moves several steps in advance. Of course, it's impossible to distill a long, complicated television series into a single movie, so in the process L and Light are simplified. But I took issue with the way Light was depicted here. In the anime, Light is popular, smart, and utterly ruthless. He is an egotistical sociopath who truly believes in the nobility of his actions and will stop at nothing to achieve his agenda. Nobody has to convince him to kill people, and there was something wonderfully refreshing about such an openly immoral character. Annoyingly, the film warps Light into a bullied weirdo with a Batman-style motivation. His mother was killed by a criminal, and Light's rightful thirst for revenge sparks his killing spree. I genuinely don't understand why Western adaptations always have to make unlikable characters sympathetic. It's not like we are incapable of rooting for antiheroes. Look at Frank Underwood. My second major gripe was the role of Ryuk, the death god who gives Light the notebook. In this film, he is a malevolent force, pressuring Light into murder and pursuing his own private, twisted agenda. In the original, Ryuk is simply bored. That's it. That's his motivation. He hangs around in the world of death, bored out of his mind, until he decides to give his death note to a random human and just see what happens. To his delight, the tense game of cat and mouse that ensues is the most entertaining thing he's ever witnessed. Ryuk is supposed to be a spectator, just like the audience, standing beside Light and giggling at the human's plans. He doesn't have a horse in the race, he just likes eating apples and watching the chaos unfold. I really loved that aspect of Ryuk, and again, it's a shame that his character had to fit the Western perception of demonic entities. It wouldn't have killed us to subvert our expectations. Ugh, anyway, enough of my fanboy griping. I wasn't expecting this to be a faithful adaptation, or a particularly good one, but I must admit I was entertained. There is a couple of things the film gets right, and one of them is Light's girlfriend Mia. In the anime she's simply awful, a simpering, spineless schoolgirl who's utterly obsessed with Light and would do anything to please him. A teenage virgin's fantasy, really. In the film, she's given a lot more purpose and plays a kind of Lady Macbeth role, even if it's unclear why she's so twisted. Elle is also enjoyable, and weird enough, but makes a lot of decisions based on emotion for a character who is supposed to be a brilliant tactician. This serves to drive the film's action sequences, and a lot of careful decisions are replaced by impulsivity just to speed things up. And although Ryuk was warped to be more of a bad guy, the casting of Willem Dafoe was beyond perfect. I actually want a redub of the anime series with Dafoe's voice now. Most of the film's sequences are visually pleasing, lit up with clashing neon, humming along to an 80s soundtrack, and the sound of synths. It kind of reminded me of Stranger Things, which isn't a terrible comparison. Thankfully, the film doesn't really take itself too seriously, which stops it from being a cringe fest and firmly puts it into popcorn territory. It's a high-concept thriller, and nothing more. Fans of the original will watch it out of curiosity and be deeply disappointed, while those new to the idea will enjoy it for what it is. In that sense, the film is a success. But I sue.